Hey everyone, welcome to the Kenny Quest Show. I'm your host, Kenny Quest. I'm an avid Harley Davidson motorcycle rider and enthusiast. I tell you this up front because today's topic is a touchy one for a lot of people, myself included. Today we're diving into the electric revolution happening at Harley Davidson. Harley CEO Jochen Zeitz has publicly stated on numerous occasions that Harley Davidson will be an all-electric company in the future, and their LiveWire offshoot brand is just the tip of the spear.
Eventually, we will also electrify Harley Davidson, but LiveWire will spearhead that development.
Then I'm going to spice things up a little bit and go to a place where more popular Harley-centric channels wouldn't dare go. I'm going to share my opinion on what led to Harley Davidson's CEO to publicly commit that Harley Davidson will abandon the internal combustion engine in favor of electric engines.
And then bringing the technology back into Harley is obviously a key objective. This will be one of the key strategic elements that will help us to achieve our ultimate goals.
I'm also going to explain just how this electric engine revolution could potentially fall flat on its face, setting the clock back to zero and potentially sending Harley Davidson's CEO into a tailspin for which he may never recover.
The cobalt that's being mined in the Congo is in every single lithium-ion rechargeable battery manufactured in the world today. Never in human history has there been more suffering that generated more profit and was linked to the lives of more people around the world, ever in history, than what's happening in the Congo right now.
Mount up, because it's going to be a charged ride today.
Harley Davidson, a name synonymous with roaring engines and chrome, but a little over a decade ago they started experimenting with electric motorcycles. The project was spearheaded by then Harley board member and staunch environmentalist Jochen Zeitz, a German national who led Puma, the sports shoe and apparel brand, back to relevance from fledgling obscurity back in the 2000s. In 2019, after an ousting of the Harley Davidson leadership team led by then CEO Matt Levitage, Zeitz was appointed the new CEO of Harley Davidson. Soon after, Harley Davidson officially launched its first electric motorcycle, the LiveWire, a bold move by the motor company, the first major motorcycle brand to enter into the electric motorcycle market. The Harley branded model had a tough run that first year. Dealers were forced to accept multiple demo models of a $30,000 bike. Some sat around idle so long they caught on fire. But there was some press buzz around this model, but sell-through was extremely poor, with complaints of lack of range and access to charging stations.
There isn't a standardization of how vehicle charging works. So if you have a Chevy Bolt, or you have a LiveWire, or you have a Tesla with an adapter, the initiation time is going to be different. So the charger is shooting a certain signal, and the vehicles aren't standardized, so they're looking for
a specific signal, and it's not necessarily giving it.
Yeah, it took me like 25 minutes to activate this, so I would have already been out of here.
The results of the initial stock offering and sell-through of the S1 LiveWire model inventory have fallen short of initial expectations. Now let's talk about the bikes themselves. LiveWire, the brand, launched with the S1, a powerful cafe racer with impressive range and performance.
Alright. I am definitely leaning more forward, and it promotes me to want to kind of lean down. Motorcycling is a visceral event, multi-senses, and obviously the cool Tron sound is neat, and all you're hearing is wind in your helmet. But what you're not hearing is the exhaust note at idle, or obviously when moving down the road. We're sitting in traffic, I hear nothing. We can have a conversation. Everybody can talk. I can hear the guy talking up front, even with the 18-wheeler going by. It's amazing how quiet these are. There's no noise. It's amazing how much engine braking you get on these electric motorcycles. Now, Jochen Zeitz, CEO, he says, we're not ready for the touring models to be electric. We just don't have the range yet. But his goal is for Harley to be 100% electric.
Then came the S2 Del Mar, a more approachable and stylish electric motorcycle.
Here we go. Oh, it's very quick, very smooth. Now, there's multiple riding modes on this, and I am in rain mode to start out with, per their recommendation, but at any time I can change. Body position, I feel I'm upright. There is a little bit of a cup on the back of the seat that kind of holds me in place, but it holds me upright. Oh, easy to duck. Yeah, you can turn really tight on this. So we're going to change modes. Go right to sport mode. See if there's any difference in the braking. Okay. Having ridden the LiveWire before, I noticed immediately that the regenerative braking is not as aggressive feeling on this motorcycle. Immediate power, no delay, turn your wrist and bam, it's there. So this gets 110-mile range approximately, a little bit less than the LiveWire, and they're targeting this for, you know, around town riding. Yeah, it ducks and dives, baby. Let's see what she got. Woo! Yeah. Nice. But yeah, she scoots.
LiveWire isn't stopping there. They have teamed up with Comeco, a manufacturer nestled within a territory occupied by the Republic of China, to produce the value-oriented S3 model. This partnership could be a game changer, potentially expanding LiveWire's reach in sales and production capacity. So what does the future hold for LiveWire? Inventory sell-through is crucial, and market acceptance will depend on consumer trust in the brand and electric motorcycles in general. Brand awareness is key, and LiveWire is seeking to stand out from the crowd of boutique brands that litter the electrified motorcycle playing field. But what if the whole electrification segment of motorcycles fell flat on its face? How could this happen, you ask? Well, in the free market, when the consumer loses trust in a concept, in a product, in a brand, the laws of capitalism take over. People don't buy the product. Investment money dries up, and investors go elsewhere to make their profits. We are already seeing a backlash against electrification of cars and trucks. American consumers have made it clear with automobiles they prefer a hybrid solution over an electrified vehicle. Electrification began as a green initiative. Let's make our planet a healthier place to live. Whether you believe we've damaged our billion-year-old planet in the 200 years since the Industrial Revolution began or not, most people buy into the Green Planet mantra. It's harmless, right? Well, at first it was. About 15 years ago, with the help of world business leaders like current Harley CEO Jochen Zeitz, a group called the B Team, a non-profit concern, began to drive the message of a better way of doing business for the well-being of people and planet. Their influence across the globe led to the development of the ESG score. ESG stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance. The ESG score soon became hip within investment circles. Institutional investors and hedge fund managers began seeking out publicly traded companies who adhere to ESG, raising huge amounts of cash along the way. Harley Davidson promotes itself to investors as ESG friendly and addresses its ESG concerns in an annual report. ESG is pushed and lobbied by investment firms, mainly institutional investment funds, the folks who manage large corporation retirement accounts, and those who manage large hedge funds. In fact, 73% of Harley Davidson stock is owned by institutional investment funds. 4% is owned by members of the board, such as Jochen Zeitz, 14% by the general public, and the rest of it's owned by hedge funds. ESG as a business philosophy has come under fire from many business leaders, Elon Musk being one of them.
Elon Musk, I'm increasingly convinced that corporate ESG is the devil incarnate.
Harley Davidson has acknowledged the importance of ESG factors and has taken steps to address them. They focus on the concept of sustainable growth, which means considering not just financial profit, but also environmental and social responsibility.
I joined Harley Davidson on the board. And many of you may say, what's sustainable about Harley? Well, there really wasn't anything sustainable about Harley at the time. In fact, I was greeted with a lot of skepticism in Milwaukee when I knocked on their door as the sustainable Taliban.
Some of the ESG principles are good. Using less energy this year than last year in the manufacturing facilities, the offices, using recycled materials in the production of their products. For instance, the LiveWire S2 Delmar battery cover, the part that looks like a gas tank, it's made from old fishing nets. The S2 Mulholland has parts made from hemp. However, the push for ESG appears to be creating harm where once there was none. Harm to the well-being of the people and the planet. A contradiction to the ESG principles. And I'm speaking specifically to the main ingredient for which makes LiveWire motorcycles operate, its battery system. The raw materials for these batteries comes from cobalt, a toxic material where 73% of its mining is within a small area of the world, where Chinese companies have secured the mining rights and they pay children and impoverished people $1 or $2 a day to dig up those toxic materials by hand without proper protective wear.
I started traveling to the Congo. The cobalt that's being mined in the Congo is in every single lithium-ion rechargeable battery manufactured in the world today. And it's being mined in appalling, heart-wrenching, dangerous conditions. There's this fiction that exists outside of the Congo of what companies are doing and what the conditions are like. And then there's the reality.
It appears Harley Davidson and LiveWire are on the hook for perpetuating the ESG rally, and they may not have had a clue as to how the raw materials that make up a LiveWire motorcycle are brought to market. Perhaps that's why Harley has announced that moving forward, their S3 version of the LiveWire offering will be wholly manufactured by a China territory-based company, Cameco. The S3 is to be their lower price point model campaign that will take LiveWire into other markets beyond the US. Cameco has invested $100 million into LiveWire during LiveWire's IPO and is the second largest shareholder of LiveWire to Harley Davidson's own investment.
In 2022, Harley spun off LiveWire into its own publicly traded entity. At the time, the question on everybody's mind was, why spin off LiveWire? Well, some speculated it was a strategic move. Electric motorcycles are a whole new ballgame, and Harley might wanted to keep their core brand image separate while exploring this new technology.
And let's say we're having this discussion in the year 2030.
Okay.
What are the biggest changes, and how would you measure success for shareholders?
In 2030, that we should be completing that total transformation of the company, and we should be profitably growing as a business for sure.
It's hard to keep the politics of business out of the discussion with LiveWire. This is what happens when you become a public company, and any group with enough money can influence you to change things. Zeitz took home a significant payday last year after the spin-off of LiveWire. He's been paid. The LiveWire division has its own CEO now, and the expectations from stockholders are increased unit sales to stop the bleeding. LiveWire has yet to meet unit sales expectations, and that's good for us. We need a dull spear. As little as 6 months ago, I believe the writing was on the wall. Electrification was inevitable. But recent events in the automotive industry and with our own motorcycle community has given me some hope and inspiration for a different kind of outcome. I posted a poll on the community tab asking the question, will LiveWire succeed? And over 70% of the subscribers that responded said no or you don't care. Now I can confidently say that the writing on the wall can be erased and a new message can replace it.
That message? A return to heritage, a return to the core values of Harley Davidson as a traditional American brand that represents hard-working Americans who use their motorcycles for enjoyment, extended travel on the open road, and want to hear the roar of their internal combustion engines, the smell of oil, gasoline, and the deep baritone note of our exhaust as we haul ass down a barren stretch of highway. I feel it's best to halt electric engine progression as the replacement for the internal combustion engine, as we now see clearly the politics with ESG serve the institutional investors and the communist country's interests first, and those efforts put an increased stranglehold over all the people of the world, you and I included.
I challenge each and every one of you to refrain from promoting the electrification of Harley Davidson in its entirety, and to boycott all companies in the market chain that prey upon the impoverished, those who pollute our earth with mining of toxic cobalt. We as a community of Harley riders need to encourage the motor company to develop an alternative to electric motors, perhaps hybrids, perhaps something water-based. There are many different alternatives out there. As Americans, we expect freedom of choice. Harley stating that electrification of motorcycles is the only future eliminates our freedom to choose for ourselves. Step up, take action, and let Harley CEO Jochen Zeitz know where you stand. His email address and phone number below. Let him know your opinion. Let him know where you stand. Tell them you won't stand for the electrification of Harley Davidson, and tell them in no uncertain terms they need to find another means to satisfy their ESG score and to keep the internal combustion engine in its stable of offerings for your future, your kids' future, and your grandkids' future.
Thanks for joining me on this electric episode. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more motorcycle content. Let me know in the comments below what you think about LiveWire's future and what actions you're going to take to secure your freedom of choice. Until next time, ride safe, my brothers, and I'll see you on the next one. This looks like I'm going to come to my first stop. Man, I don't even have to hit the brakes. It just stops on its own. Ah, shit. Yeah. Woo! Dear Jochen, my sincere apologies for the damages that I made to your LiveWire S1 demo motorcycles. That being said, those damages are in no way comparable to the damage done to the people of the Congo and their land for the cobalt mine to make these LiveWire motorcycles. I implore you to consider shuttering the LiveWire division, take the tax write-off, and invest in a better sustainable technology. Perhaps you've heard that Toyota has come up with a water-based fuel engine. Hiroshio Matamuso is lead engineer on the project. Perhaps I can introduce you.